Power comes not from land alone, but from the seas and the courage to sail them. Imagine a small island nation turning oceans into highways and colonies into wealth, reshaping the world forever. The rise of the British Empire wasn't just about conquest, it was a story of brilliant strategy, relentless trade, unmatched naval supremacy, and boundless ambition. From the tea fields of India to the sugar plantations of the Caribbean, Britain's empire transformed economies, cultures, and politics on a global scale. How did this small island achieve such dominance? Let's dive into the story of how the British Empire was built. In the 16th century, Britain was far from a global power. It was an island nation, just emerging from centuries of internal conflict, like the Wars of the Roses, and navigating the turbulent waters of the English Reformation. Compared to the vast empires of Spain and Portugal, Britain was a minor player, but it had two crucial advantages: its geography and its people. Being an island nation naturally encouraged naval innovation and fostered strong maritime skills. Its many rivers and natural harbors became the arteries of trade, connecting it to the wider world. A new, ambitious merchant class was beginning to see the immense potential of overseas commerce, laying the groundwork for what would become a global empire. They were ready to risk it all for profit, and in doing so, they set Britain on a new course. Britain's first forays into colonization began in the 17th century, planting flags in North America, the Caribbean, and India. These weren't just territorial gains, they were economic engines. The North American colonies provided valuable resources like tobacco and cotton. In the Caribbean, islands like Jamaica and Barbados became incredibly lucrative centers for sugar production, built on the brutal foundation of enslaved African labor. This system funneled immense wealth back to Britain. Meanwhile, in the East, the East India Company, established in 1600, was becoming a force of its own. It started as a trading venture, but quickly evolved, wielding political and military power in India. It was almost a government in its own right, controlling vast territories and trade routes. This model of using colonies as sources of raw materials and strategic military bases allowed Britain to project power across the globe with surprising efficiency. But none of this would have been possible without one key element: the Royal Navy. Britain's rise as a global power is inseparable from its mastery of the seas. Through advanced shipbuilding, disciplined training, and brilliant naval strategies, the Royal Navy became the most formidable maritime force the world had ever seen. Controlling the oceans meant controlling the world's trade routes, which were the lifelines of the empire. It allowed Britain to protect its merchant ships from pirates and, more importantly, from its European rivals like Spain, France, and the Netherlands. The decisive victory of the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805 against Napoleon's combined French and Spanish fleets is a perfect example. It cemented Britain's naval supremacy for the next century. The Royal Navy wasn't just a military force. It was the ultimate tool of foreign policy, allowing a small island to project its power to every corner of the globe. The wealth generated from this global trade network completely transformed British society. Ports like London, Liverpool, and Bristol exploded into bustling commercial hubs, the epicenters of a new global economy. The riches pouring in from the colonies funded the technological innovations and industrial growth that would spark the Industrial Revolution. Factories, churning out textiles and ironworks, producing machinery were all fueled by colonial resources and profits. This created a new social structure. A powerful merchant and middle class emerged, flush with cash and influence, challenging the old aristocratic order. Below them, a growing working class labored in the factories and on the docks, powering the engine of empire. But this prosperity was built on a dark foundation: the exploitation of colonial lands and peoples, particularly the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade, were integral to Britain's economic success. This moral contradiction didn't go unnoticed. Debates about slavery, exploitation, and the rights of colonized peoples began to surface in British society, eventually leading to major reforms like the abolition of the slave trade in 1807. Of course, Britain wasn't operating in a vacuum. The 17th and 18th centuries were marked by fierce competition with other European powers. France, Spain, and the Netherlands were all vying for colonial territories and trade dominance. This rivalry frequently erupted into open warfare. The 7 Years' War, from 1756 to 1763, was a truly global conflict fought in Europe, North America, and India. Britain's victory was a turning point. It seized vast territories from France, including Canada, and solidified its control over India. By the late 18th century, the British Empire was a patchwork of strategic assets across the globe. It held colonies in North America at least until the American Revolution, the incredibly wealthy sugar islands of the Caribbean, and a growing dominance in India. It also controlled key ports and trading posts in Africa and Asia, creating a network that ensured British goods and influence could reach anywhere in the world. This global chessboard of colonies allowed Britain to dominate international trade and project its power far beyond its European rivals. So, what is the legacy of this vast empire? It's complex and can be seen all around us today. The spread of the English language as a global lingua franca is perhaps the most obvious. British legal systems and parliamentary models of government were adopted and adapted in many former colonies. The empire also laid the groundwork for modern global capitalism, creating interconnected trade and financial networks that still exist today. And of course, there is the cultural influence in literature, education, and even sports. But the legacy also includes the deep scars of imperialism, the history of exploitation, racial inequality, and the political instability left behind in many regions. Understanding the rise of the British Empire teaches us crucial lessons about power, wealth, and the often brutal dynamics of globalization. Its impact continues to shape our modern world, from international relations to the very structure of our global economy. From a small, rain-swept island to an empire on which the sun never set. The rise of Britain was a monumental story of ambition, strategy, and naval might. It reshaped the world politically, economically, and culturally, leaving behind a powerful and controversial legacy that we are still grappling with today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the British Empire, please give this video a like. Subscribe to our channel for more history explained. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss another journey into the past. Thanks for watching.